Okay, Mike White, tight ends and H-backs, and this is my 25th season. Well, of course, I went to William Blount High School and actually played for my dad, and I am 3 years older than my brother Nick, and my dad coached at William Blount through his sophomore year, and then he actually got to coach Nick at Maryville College when Nick played up there. That's always a special time to go down there and be on that field where, my dad took that job when I was in the 5th grade. So I was, running around down there on that campus. I can remember being a kid and how much time he would spend out there working on the field. That was kind of that was his project, and that field looked beautiful for so many years, and it still does. But it's just really special, because he was a really well-respected, well-known person in this community, and to have a field named after you, that's not something that you see all the time. It's an absolute pleasure. It was something that wasn't really expected. It's not something that I take for granted. I actually teach with Chase as well. So he teaches 4th grade, and I'm teaching PE. We're at the same school, then we come out here, we're together. It's a unique relationship. It's something that most fathers and sons don't have, but to get to spend that time with them, and you just can't put a price on it. It's so valuable.
So I got to see that on the field as a dad. Got to see Coach White on the field as a dad. I got to see him at home as a dad. They match together. He does the same thing with his players. Yeah, so obviously he was my freshman football coach, and that's when we kind of started our relationship. But I think probably my junior, senior year, really not long after I could drive, I started babysitting his 2 boys.
I look at Derek almost like just another one of my sons. And we were so fortunate when the boys were little to have somebody of his caliber, somebody in the position that he was as a teenage boy who had that much responsibility.
And so started out, on like date nights or not, when he was traveling a little bit maybe, and maybe once a month, if that. But then we got to the point where in the summers, I basically kept him, 3 or 4 times a week, most of the summer.
And he would pick the boys up, and he'd take them, and he'd take them swimming
And playing all the sports games with them, and I loved it just as much as anybody, getting to go play games with his boys, and they were young at the time, but they were just. I just remember thinking how impressive Mike and Laura were as parents, because there'd be times where I'd go over there, in the evening, and I'd be ready to play all these games, and it wasn't 30 minutes into the evening, and Chase, who's the oldest, was getting ready for bed, getting Will ready for bed, and they're going to bed at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I'm like, I just got here, and so, but it was super fun, and that just goes to show you, how well of a dad, a father that Coach White was and still is.
I'd say that my why is twofold. First of all, because I do love to teach, and just the relationships. I'm on a staff where I think I've coached about half the guys that are on this staff. Every
time I go somewhere and see one of our former players or somebody who played with me that Coach White coached, because he's been doing it for over 25 years now. One of the first coaches they ask about is Coach Mike White. It's because of the relationships that he has built.
It's just those lifelong relationships, and to feel like that you had an impact, and to get to do it both in the classroom and on the field. It's just an extraordinary experience. It never gets old, and it's something I've done for a long time, and I hope to continue to do for quite a bit longer.